What is up, everybody? I'm Two-Tone the Artist.
And I'm Mitch the Peach.
Welcome back to the Hills Are Silent podcast, where we slice, and chop it up about the video games of yesterday, today, and tomorrow. Almost forgot that part, but it's cool. Anyway.
We got it,
man. Let's jump right in. So, another week of awesome video games. Got some stuff to cover, got some interesting stuff to cover. Mitch, does not look like you have a game that you are ready to talk about this week. Is that correct?
That would be correct. Yeah, I've got something I should finish up by next week on the Switch. I'll leave the tease there, but nothing yet. But you've got something that you're looking to talk about, so I will hand the mic over to you.
All right, man. So yeah, myself, I have been playing Arizona Sunshine on PlayStation 4 VR. Now, I had played this briefly on VR on PC, but when I picked up my PlayStation 4 VR headset, I was like, all right, man, I got to get some physical VR games, which physical VR games are hard to come by. There were a handful of titles released when PlayStation VR first came out, but the mass majority of stuff was digital only. But as a collector, I've got this PlayStation VR headset, and I want to be able to play some VR games 20 years from now. I want to be able to bust out my VR headset, show it to my kids, and be like, this is what VR was like back in my day. I know now you guys, everything's just like completely transmitted to your implant in your brain, and you're actually like experiencing it from your neural pathways. But back in the day, we used to have to put on this big helmet that looked ridiculous. You look like a freaking spaceman, especially the PlayStation 4 VR helmet. That really looks like you're wearing a space helmet. And then we played games like this, Arizona Sunshine. So yeah, I've been on the hunt to get some physical VR games. I've got a few in my collection. Arizona Sunshine, I definitely wanted to get, but this was never released in the US as a physical copy. So I had to order a European copy. And popped it into my PlayStation 4, started playing it. For the most part, it was pretty much on par with when I played it on PC. Except one difference. Unlike PC, where you got typically your two VR controllers, the PlayStation 4 VR has the PlayStation Aim wireless controller. Have you seen this thing?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay.
I'm going to look it up, though, just to make sure.
All right, yeah, I did drop a link in the doc, but basically what it is it's very strange looking, but it's a two-handed rifle that you can play VR games with. So with most games, the problem is you have the two controllers. So most games, to remedy that, if they're a shooter, they've got you either holding one gun, like one pistol or something, or a rifle with one hand, which is not very realistic, or they have you like dual wielding pistols. So this kind of helps you simulate actually holding a full rifle. And I managed to get my hands on one of these in a pawn shop for $30. I think they were trying to sell it for $50, and I talked the guy down to $30 because it was really grimy and gross. It looked like somebody gave it to their kid to play with as like a toy gun or something. It was just ugh. So I'm like, man, come on, look at how disgusting this thing is. I'll give you $30 for it. So he's like, all right, deal. So I took it home, scrubbed it with Lysol, got it nice and brand new, and I wasn't even sure if it was going to work or not because it was really beat up. And sure enough, it worked. It works great. There's only a handful of games that actually support it, but for those games, it makes all the difference. And yeah, you really get in the zone, especially with Arizona Sunshine. I don't remember there being rifles in the PC version, but maybe my memory is just failing me. So that might have been something they just added in the PlayStation VR version specifically for the aim controller, because when you start up the game, it asks you. It's like, all right, what are you playing with? Are you playing with the aim controller?
Okay.
And if you select yes, I'm assuming that's then giving you the option for the rifles. But I don't know, somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but that seemed to be the case when I was playing this. So, it was totally fun. It's just kind of like your run-of-the-mill zombie shooter, but in VR, it's a whole different experience. Right. And it's really nice just being able to lean around corners and get headshots. It's so smooth, man. VR is like so accurate when it comes to shooting games.
So I see there, it says that you could survive solo or in co-op. Is there like an online co-op?
Yeah, I saw that too, that there was a co-op mode. I didn't try it yet, but I need to, because that's one of my biggest gripes with VR games is the VR experience is very isolating to me. Like, first of all, you're cut off from everything else going on in the room because you're wearing a helmet essentially and like earplugs. So you're kind of antisocial if anyone else is in the room with you. And then a lot of the games are just like these very solo experiences. In this game, it's creepy because you do feel like a lone survivor in a zombie apocalypse. But those VR games that are co-op, man, they're just so much better. I remember one of the first co-op VR games I played was The Forest with my buddy Dario. And that's like one of those survival games where you just crash land on some crazy islands and then you have to just scavenge and build a fort and build weapons and survive. And that was a lot of fun. So I really would like to check out this co-op mode on Arizona Sunshine. If anyone else is playing it, you never know. With some of these games you hop on, there's nobody in the servers.
Yeah, I mean, we were playing Resident Evil Outbreak on that server, and people were on that every weekend, it seemed like. And
which is a pleasant surprise. Anyway, I'm a couple hours in. It's a lot of fun. There's one particular area where you go into like a mine, and it's all dark. It's completely dark, except for the flashlight you have on your head. And that part was creepy. Just being in the pitch black and then just kind of feeling your way around in VR. And if you're not looking directly at something, it's dark and you're just hearing zombies moan. It's pretty creepy. But yeah, so the PS4 aim controller, I recommend it. Right now it's going for about $50 on average on like Amazon or eBay or any place online. And it really only supports a handful of games, but it's a great experience. So if you have a PlayStation VR and you don't have an aim controller, I'd say pick one up, especially if you can get a good deal on it. And like I've said before on an earlier episode, now is the time to adopt the original PlayStation 4 VR. I know they just came out the new one. I'm sure it's absolutely amazing, but these original headsets are so cheap right now, like maybe $100-ish, maybe a little more than that. I think I only paid like $120 for my setup. So yeah, it's a great low barrier of entry into VR, and there's tons and tons of games, and oftentimes they're on sale for really cheap on the PlayStation Network store.
I've been a bit intimidated to jump into the VR universe with motion sickness and whatnot. I get a little hesitant on it, but with that low of a barrier to entry, it may be time for me to snag one and try it out.
Yeah, and yeah, the motion sickness is real. I had not played a VR game in quite a while, and just immediately after putting my headset on, like I was just in the PlayStation menu, and within like 2 minutes, I was feeling dizzy and nauseous. But I'm like, all right, man, fight through it. So I fought through it, and I got my C legs back, or my VR legs back, and I was good to go. But yeah, you kind of have to convince yourself that it's not bothering you, and then eventually you're able to ignore it. But some games are worse than others. But yeah, man, I'm going to keep playing through Arizona Sunshine. I plan on beating this one. And there's a couple other AIM-supported games I have. I've got the Doom 3 VR remake, which I've been meaning to jump into because I loved Doom 3 when it first came out. And it would be nice to just re-experience that in VR. And another one is Farpoint. That was the first PlayStation 4 VR game I played, which is a first-person shooter game. And I think that was the one that actually came with the aim controller. Yeah, that one's all right. I I didn't get that far in it, but for some reason that one wasn't hooking me. At least not right off the bat. But anyway, that's what
Arizona
I'm playing.
Sunshine. Arizona Sunshine is such a funny name for a zombie shooter.
Yeah, I don't know how they came up with that name. That's nothing about that screams zombie apocalypse. So, but hey, man, maybe everything else was trademarked. They're like, dude, because there's 1,000,001 zombie games out there, so they're probably like,
that's true.
They're probably going down the list of everything. They're like, dude, just every name is trademarked. What can we do? And then they probably just had to throw some random stuff out there and just be like, we got to go with it.
Right.
And they land. Where's the game take place? Arizona? Arizona Sunshine. Is that trademarked? No. All right. Hurry up and file the trademark. We got it. But yeah, man. Cool game. So, I do have a confession to make. I am full of crap. I said on the last 2 episodes that I was not going to get any more games, not going to have any more pickups. I've just been getting too much stuff, got too big of a backlog. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I am not ashamed to tell you that I picked up some more games. It is what it is, man. There's just too much great stuff out there for great deals, and can't resist it, man.
Right.
But,
it's okay.
Yeah. Fortunately,
I'm never gonna.
Go ahead. What were you gonna say?
I'm never gonna be one to convince you otherwise. Just because I am the exact same person as you. I just keep adding on. So I'm sure next episode I will have some more.
I will say, people, I'm not an idiot. I'm not terrible with my money. Have my priorities straight. Savings, investments, all my bills paid, taking care of my fiance, feeding myself, taking care of my animals, and whatever cash I have left over is fair game for games.
I can vouch for that, though, because sometimes when Mike is on Discord, he doesn't realize that I can see that he is on a program that is a budgeting program. And Discord likes to tell me that Mike is playing budget, whatever the heck it's called.
That's so weird, man. I did not know Discord was putting me on blast. I knew it had that feature where it tells what game you're playing. But yeah, once you pointed that out, I looked over at Discord and I'm like, it is telling everybody that I'm playing my budget maker. Which I advise everybody, make a budget, manage your money well, but I don't know, man. I tell that to everybody. A lot of people don't listen. It's good advice, though.
Yeah.
All right, so getting all that out the way, Mitch got some cool games to share with you and the audience. So on a previous episode, I was talking about Hitman quite a bit. And my Hitman collection is actually pretty good. But I got all the old Hitman games, and I mentioned in the last episode that I picked up the Hitman HD collection for Xbox 360 so I could get those HD remasters of Hitman 2, Silent Assassin, and I think it was Hitman Contracts. I always get Contracts and Blood Money mixed up. Can't remember which one came out first. Anyway, so for the newer Hitman games, yes, I know that you can play Hitman 3 on Game Pass, and it basically gives you access to the entire new trilogy. But that game is truly like a live service game. So someday in the future, if IO Interactive shuts down those servers, then that's going to kill a lot of that game. And I question how, and if at all, it's still going to be playable on PC when that day comes. So I already had Hitman 2 on PlayStation 4 that I got for like $5. But I was missing Hitman Season 1. And this is actually a hard game to come by. I don't think that they printed a lot of copies of this because I think they just assumed the majority of their sales would be digital. Mm-hmm. But they released it in 2 editions. So there's the Hitman, the complete first season, which came out as a Steelbook edition. And it typically has a slipcover on top, but the version I got is missing that slipcover, which is, again, why do people lose these slipcovers? Like, how do people lose cases, manual slipcovers? Man, just, what are y'all doing?
You'd
Keep
be
the game together.
surprised how much people do not take care of their video games.
Yeah, it's got this cool little cool
really
image
cool
of
cover,
Hitman
though.
on the back. And you can't really see it in the camera, but if it hits the light just right, the metal on his belt and the suitcase and his eyes glow.
Oh, wow.
I was like, dang, that's a nice touch. Like, it's creepy. It's like cat eyes when they glow. But anyway, so this was the Steelbook edition. This was one of the ways they released the first season. And you can play this, and it has the 5 campaign missions that came out originally with the game, but offline. But it is a more limited version if you play it offline. Like, let's say the servers go down someday, you'll still be able to play through the campaign, which is just a couple hours, but you do lose out on all, like, the extra missions they added over the years and, like, the community-made missions, because there is, like, a mission maker in there as well. But at the end of the day, if, like, 10 years from now, I want to play this, just like I'm playing Hitman 2 Silent Assassin right now, like 20 years after it came out, like, history repeats itself and I go back to this one, at least I'll be able to play through the campaign. But
Yeah,
they did release...
Future-proofing.
Yeah, exactly. They did release a Hitman, the first season, the definitive edition, but really there's no point in picking that one up over this one, because the extra missions and all the DLC and stuff is just a download code. So unless you get your hands on a brand new copy, like, it's literally going to be the same version as this one, just with a code. So
Yeah, that's a slick steelbook, though. I've not seen...
yeah.
I'm not one for usually collecting steelbooks or anything like that, but that one's slick.
Yeah, I like this one. Yeah, usually they don't... I don't know, they're kind of weird shaped. So, but anyway, so I got that. I think I got that for $12. So that was a good deal. And the next thing I picked up was Trials Fusion for PlayStation 4.
I love Trials.
I know, dude. I freaking love the Trials games. I've been meaning to grab this one for a long time. Because I remember playing... which one was it? I don't know. It was one of the older ones on PlayStation 3 that I just sunk hours and hours and hours into. And this one, I just kept waiting for it to get dirt cheap. And sure enough, I paid like $8 for this. So, and it's 4 players local split screen.
Cool.
So, or I don't even know if it's split screen. I might just show everybody on the screen at the same time. But anything...
It's such a great game to, like, hand the controller over and give somebody else a try on levels, though. It's like, it's perfect for couch co-op.
Yeah. So it's hard to find local co-op games or just local multiplayer games in general on PlayStation 4 or the newer consoles. So anytime there's a game like that, that's more incentive for me to pick it up. So that was that. And then... So I've been playing a lot of Call of Duty lately, which I'll get into more in a bit, but it's made me want... I fell off for a long time. I was just so burnt out on Call of Duty, and I just, like, the last 3 games they released, I'm just like, screw it, man. I don't even care. I don't even want them.
You and me both.
But every once in a while, I come back around to Call of Duty, and then I remember why it is what it is, why it's this massive popular game, why I fell in love with it in the first place. And now that I've had a long break, I've been hopping back into it. And that's got me curious about the games, the more recent ones that I haven't played. And one of them being Call of Duty Vanguard, which I picked up a PlayStation 4 copy of. And I got this for $15, so it's pretty reasonable right now. And yeah, look forward to trying this one out. The last couple newer ones I've been playing... The last newish ones I played were Call of Duty World War II and Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. Oh, and Call of Duty Modern Warfare, the newer one. Not Modern Warfare 2, but the 2019 version.
I think the last one I bought was World War II and played that because I really wanted to get back to the 360 World at War days because I loved that time period of Call of Duty. Like, the World at War was with the, like, first rendition of Nazi zombies was the coolest thing ever. It was like
Yeah.
mind blowing for me.
Yeah, I loved that game. That was so good. And you're right, it was the first introduction to the zombies, and that was just, man, that was new and fresh when that came out. But yeah, in Call of Duty World War II, I really liked that one. I think that was, to me, that was one of the better ones in quite a while. So when I heard Vanguard was another World War II era one, I was like, all right, that one's got my interest. So, aside from that, GameStop was having some good deals. You and I talk about it every once in a while. You can get some good deals at GameStop.
It's true.
And they had a bunch of games on sale. So I picked up 3 games from GameStop. They were all...
Did you go into GameStop?
Yeah, they were all at my local GameStop. And yeah, I just ordered them online for pickup and went and picked them up.
Didn't have to deal with their $70 minimum for the shipping now, or whatever it is that we've talked about. That's just pure craziness to me.
Yeah, it was. There was some other stuff I wanted to get, but they were nowhere nearby. So I would have had to have ordered them online. And then at that point, it wasn't a good deal anymore with the shipping and handling.
Yep.
But yeah, so as I just mentioned, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2019, I do have this on PC. I got it like when it first came out, but I picked up a PlayStation 4 copy. And the reason I did that is because I know the games look way better and can run way better on PC, but in all honesty, I prefer playing Call of Duty on the consoles.
Same.
And mainly because I don't get my butt kicked as much. I think there's less hackers on consoles because there's better protection against that. And just kind of when everybody's playing with a controller, it kind of evens the playing ground.
Agreed.
Because I like to casually play with the controller, and if I'm playing with the controller against mouse and keyboard people, I'm always going to lose. Although I will say that most of the newer Call of Duties I've heard all have cross-platform play.
Yes, that's
including
correct.
PC, so I don't quite know how they balance PC players versus console players. Because there's
From my understanding, I think you do have the option to turn off that cross-play aspect to only, it may be even only console and then include PC, or it may just be the console that you're on. But I want to say they have the ability to tailor it to what you want, essentially, which I think is a neat concept.
Yeah, it is. But yeah, so yeah, to me they're just easier on console. But anyway, this was $5. So games right now, people, GameStop is practically giving away Modern Warfare. So go get you a copy.
That's always with the Call of Duties, though, because people, I guess Call of Duty fans are just so into the newest version. Once the newest version comes out, they just completely abandon anything that happened in the past until it gets so far in the past that they have nostalgia for it, and then they want to come back. So they have to, it's got to be like 6 Call of Duties in the past for them to have nostalgia and go back to it.
Yeah, definitely. And it reminds me kind of like the sports games, like Madden and NBA 2K.
Yeah.
It's like one comes out every year, and then the last one immediately becomes obsolete, and it just floods game store shelves because they just get so many trade-ins. But yeah, but if you're like me, I mean, there's all the old games still have tons of people playing, which again, I'll get into in more detail in a little bit. But anyway, so the last 2 things I got from that GameStop order are Final Fantasy XII, the Zodiac Age.
Ooh, I need to add that one into my collection, actually.
So this is a remaster of Final Fantasy XII that originally released on the PlayStation 2. And that's one of the ones I never played. And apparently there's some small improvements. I don't think it's like leaps and bounds above the PS2 version. I mean, you're going to get faster loading times, better resolution, and then I think they did add a few gameplay tweaks to just make it easier to play through and not so much of a slog or a grind that some of the older Final Fantasies can be.
I got to give a quick shout out to my buddy Swanee, who listens to the pod. He actually is playing Final Fantasy 12 Zodiac Age right
Oh yeah.
now.
Okay.
He is, yeah. He's a big fan, and sometimes I peep him on the Xbox playing that, and yeah, it's he loves it. I think he's beat it before, and he's just playing it over again. But yeah, he's been trying to get me to get it as well, so it's on my list. I'm gonna pick it up.
Okay. I'd be curious to know if he played it on PlayStation 2. Do you know?
I bet he did. I'm gonna guess he did, and then he's actually I think it's on Xbox One as well. So he picked up that version, but I'm almost positive he probably played it on PlayStation 2 because he's an OG Final Fantasyer.
Okay, cool. But yeah, man, this one was like $11 or $12. I can't remember which one. I think it was $12. So I had my eye on that one for a while, and I'm a sucker for like remasters because I love the original Xbox and PlayStation 2, and as well as the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3. But anytime there's a PlayStation 2 or original Xbox game that gets remastered on like PlayStation 4 or the newer consoles, I'm all over it, man.
Yeah, and Square Enix does such a good job with those remasters as well. I mean, I've raved about the 7 remake a lot. And then also just during that time of PS3, Xbox 360, like JRPGs as a whole were just amazing. And Square Enix was publishing a lot of those, which I could go in forever about those. But it was just a really good time for JRPGs.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, any game you saw with that Square Enix logo on it, you knew it was worth picking up. You knew it was going to be good. They just had like a high standard of quality on all their stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I can just think of it, rattle up a couple. There's like Blue Dragon, there's Lost Odyssey, there's Infinite Undiscovery. They're all these just like, some of them are just, they're one and done series in JRPGs, but they're really, really good and they still hold up to this day.
Huh. Oh, did you play through Blue Dragon?
I've not played through Blue Dragon. I started it, but that one does feel a little dated. There's nothing like, they don't introduce any concepts that are, I should say, like, I don't know, fresh in a JRPG. It just kind of just follows that standard JRPG format of grinding, level, going through story. But Lost Odyssey, during COVID, I did actually play through that one, and that was one on 360, which was a double disc, actually. So
Actually,
it's kind of funny,
like
even on the
4
digital.
discs, actually?
It may have been. I had a digital, so I didn't have to switch discs. But
Okay.
yeah, Lost Odyssey is probably a top 3 JRPG for me. It is
Oh, wow.
amazing. They introduced very different concepts in JRPG while also following that formula. But also the story is just, I mean, the stories are what really draw me in and keep me playing for hours and hours. And man, it has a great story.
Nice. Yeah, it was 4 discs on the Xbox 360.
Okay, 4
That's
discs.
wild.
I knew it was multi-disc. I didn't know. Yeah, that's crazy. 4 discs.
Yeah, what was the last one you mentioned?
Infinite Undiscovery, and
Did you
that is,
play it?
I think, 2 discs. I have beaten that one. Yes,
Okay.
I beat that. I actually had a physical version of that one. I still have it.
Is that one good?
Yes, very good as well. Another really good. Those, I don't know, for some reason, like Xbox 360 was getting like exclusive JRPGs during that time, which that's one of the Lost Odyssey and Infinite Undiscovery are 2 of them that I can think of.
Man. Wish I knew that was a good game. You know how many times I've passed up getting a copy of Infinite Undiscovery for really cheap?
Yeah, I want to say it's probably fairly cheap still.
Yeah, it's about 15 or 20 bucks is what I'm seeing on eBay now.
Okay. Yeah.
All right, I'll keep an eye out for that
They're
one.
long though. Like Lost Odyssey, very long game, but I adored every bit of it.
How long do you think it took to beat that one?
50 or 60 hours, I'm gonna say.
Okay.
Wonder how long to beat.
You
says.
just crank through RPGs. Like, that is really impressive. Like a 50 or 60 hour game, that would take me all year to finish.
Yep, it says Lost Odyssey takes 50 hours to complete the main objective. So yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
was
see that.
pretty spot on there.
But man, yeah, it feels like every week you're like, yeah, I just started this new RPG, and then by the end of the week you're like, I just finished it, and I'm like, how long was it? You're like, just 50 hours, 60 hours. It's like, dude, I don't even know the week was that long, so I don't know how you're beating that in a week.
I don't know if they're. I don't know. I don't know. I just get once I get locked in, I'm locked in and I can't stop. So I get a rush from finishing a game and putting it away from my backlog after that. So once I started, I just got to keep going. Like I finished that Marvel Midnight Suns that we talked about. I burned what 30 hours, 40 hours in that, and beat that pretty quick as well.
Yeah. All right, man. I got one more game that I picked up.
Okay.
And this is one I've been eyeballing for a while, but the price would not go down. But finally, it was on sale for $15, and that is Spider-Man Miles Morales. Got the PlayStation 4 version.
Another one I need to pick up, but I was also waiting for a sale.
So, yeah, I beat the last one they came out with, just the Marvel's Spider-Man. I love that game.
So good.
I think I almost 100% completed it. There was just a few things I was missing, and at that point, I was just like, oh, whatever, man, it's fine.
Yeah, because usually I don't, like, at some point I get bored of doing the whole, like, I'm going to go get all these collectibles, side missions, whatever. But with Spider-Man, it's just so fun to, like, swing around that entire city that it doesn't bother you as much.
Yeah.
Like, you don't get bored as easy.
Anyway, so those are my pickups. 6 PlayStation 4 games. Definitely going to be the first thing I'll probably play is Call of Duty Vanguard, because I'm very curious about that one. So there's been some news that allegedly Microsoft fixed the Call of Duty servers on the old Call of Duty games on Xbox 360. Now, I say allegedly because this news has been going around the internet with no official source. There has been no statement that I know of Microsoft coming out and saying, yeah, we fixed those servers. And I don't think they did. I think those servers were never broken. Like, I jumped into those games not that long ago, like before all this news came out. I mean, maybe like a year or two ago, and they were working just as well as they are today. So I don't know why people like have it in their head that these things like automatically or like magically broke one day. Because yeah, they were working 2 years ago. They're working the same now.
I think somebody spread this rumor so they could just get more people into these games to play with.
Yes, that I agree with that theory because it worked, and it worked. The reason, because most people are reporting like, yeah, now you can get into games so much easier. You don't have to sit around and wait. That's not from them fixing the server. That's just from more people being online playing. And then, like you said, if somebody mentions like, hey, everybody, remember those old Call of Duty games? They're awesome. You can still play them. Come jump on. And of course, it's going to be a huge influx of players.
Nostalgia kicks in right
Exactly.
there. The nostalgia. Oh, I haven't played this in forever. I want to, go back to when I was in high school. All-nighters, Mountain Dew, Call of Duty. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm calling BS on that these servers were fixed. I think there's just more people playing now. So anyway, but knowing that, it worked for me. I saw those news articles and I was like, dude, I'm really jonesing to play some old Call of Duty. Like, I was feeling really nostalgic. So I dug through my stuff and I found a 48-hour free Xbox Live voucher that I had gotten in one of my Xbox 360 games that was still good. So I redeemed it. And yeah, man, for last weekend, I was just playing tons and tons of classic Call of Duty. The one I really wanted to play was Modern Warfare 2. Not the new one, folks. The one that came out in 2009. Because to me, that was like kind of like the pinnacle. I know a lot of people prefer like Black Ops or Black Ops 2, but Modern Warfare 2, like I feel like they perfected it there, and then everything else was just started to be more of the same on the 360.
That's the one that had the super controversial level, right? In the airport.
Yeah, that was the one.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Which like that was a ballsy move to add that level. But that's the thing. Like I've grown up on violent, edgy video games, so to me that was not controversial. Like I was playing Mortal Kombat, ripping somebody's head and spine out. Like,
it just felt like another video game. It didn't.
Exactly.
It didn't make me feel any different of a way.
No, but anyway, but yeah, so I wanted to play Modern Warfare 2, and unfortunately, out of all of them, that one probably has the smallest player base.
Interesting.
So it did take me a while to get into some games. Typically, I had to sit around anywhere from like, I don't know, 5 to 10 minutes just to get in a game. But then once you got in a game, you were good. You could just keep playing round after round. But that initial time, it took a while. And the only thing people play anymore is team deathmatch. Like all the other the game type lobbies are empty.
Which honestly, like that's what I liked the least playing when I played Call of Duty. To be honest with you, I liked like the search and destroy aspect. I liked any sort of like flag capturing or headquarters or like any of those I'm a big objective guy. Even on games like Halo, I love objective type games.
Huh. Yeah, I typically lean towards the team deathmatch, and I like to do the other ones every once in a while to cleanse my palate and switch it up. But that's very interesting that you say that. And also, that's probably why you gravitate towards Counter-Strike so much.
You literally read my mind. I was just about to say that. Yeah, I love Counter-Strike because it's basically a hybrid of, while you can kill everybody and win the round, there's also an objective that you're carrying the whole time and planting a bomb. So, yeah, I feel like it's more teamwork involved when you're doing some sort of objective compared to just like team deathmatch where you're dying, respawning, and nobody's coordinating anything.
Yeah. And yeah, I kind of feel you on that. And I think typically my favorite objective game type is usually capture the flag, especially in Halo. Man, I freaking love some capture the flag. And actually, yeah, you know what? A lot of those game types are pretty fun. You got capture the flag, and then also in the later Call of Duties, like especially Call of Duty World War II, there actually was like these like whole mission game types. Did you ever play those where it's like there's two teams and like one team has to like the level opens up after every objective. And I know they're not the first game to do that. I remember Halo Reach doing that too, where you like you'll have like a stronghold you need to defend and the other team will attack, and then if they manage to break through, you have to retreat to another stronghold, and then eventually there's like after 3 strongholds of them completely breaking through, if they finish, then they completely get past your defenses on all 3 of those, then they win.
Yeah, I've played the chivalry games, and those are big into that exact concept of, you are 2 sets of knights that are fighting each other, and if you invade the stronghold first, then, they have to retreat. Same kind of thing, yeah.
Yeah, and that was a lot of fun. I played that a lot in World War II.
Yeah. I just don't have as much nostalgia for the Call of Duties as I thought I would. I did play a lot back in the day, but it's always Halo that I go back to these days, if anything. Like, I don't know. I mean, the Master Chief Collection makes it really easy to do that.
Yeah.
But, Halo is just I always sunk in more hours in Halo than I did in any other game anyway. But, yeah, that's my bread and butter.
Yeah, but you're right. It's way more accessible. But it is cool that the old Call of Duties, they're backwards compatible on the new Xboxes, and you can still purchase them. You can purchase the old Xbox 360 versions of these Call of Duty games. Anyway, so I played a bunch of Modern Warfare 2. So much fun. Great maps. Took me a little while to get used to it again, but once I did, I was kicking butt. And the other Call of Duty I wanted to play was Call of Duty 3. Because I never owned that one back in the heyday of Xbox 360. That's something I only picked up recently. I got a used copy of it. And I just assumed, because I had tried playing that online. I had a PlayStation 3 copy for a while, and I tried playing online, but there was nobody. I couldn't get in any servers, win any matches, so I just figured the multiplayer was dead. And also, it runs terribly on the PlayStation 3. So I ended up selling that one and then getting a 360 copy instead. And surprisingly, there were people playing it. And it was so much fun, but in a completely different way than the other Call of Duties. Because Call of Duty 3 is more like Call of Duty 1 and 2 than it is like Call of Duty Modern Warfare and every Call of Duty that came after it. So
Yeah, 'cause 4 transformed that game completely.
Yeah, it
like,
did.
From there on out.
It did. They feel like completely different games. But I used to play Call of Duty 1 and 2 multiplayer all the time. Like, I really wish that those still had really active servers. And this kind of scratched that itch of me being nostalgic for those old games, which, like I said, I basically consider that a whole different series because it just doesn't play like any of the newer Call of Duties post Modern Warfare. So yeah, I played a ton of that. That was a lot of fun. Really big, interesting maps, like just real open maps. And yeah, once it got going, it was a ton of fun. My only complaint is that the frame rate is terrible. So it runs like crap. I don't know what they did from Call of Duty 3 to Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. I don't know if they completely switched game engines or what, or they just were able to really modify the game engine. But Call of Duty, its whole thing now is like that perfect 60 frames per second, like fast, responsive gameplay. Right. So when you play Call of Duty 3, it's like that's not the case. But yeah, it was cool. It had it's World War II themed and had vehicles and stuff. It was a lot of fun. But yeah, so I'm gonna keep playing these Call of Duties on Xbox 360, and I'm gonna check out these new ones. I'm back in the Call of Duty mood as of late. But speaking of Xbox 360, there's some bad news, man. What's going on?
Yeah, some bad news. I know we highlight these a lot when they happen, but on July 29th, 2024, so less than a year from now, the Xbox 360 digital storefront will be shutting down. You will no longer be able to purchase on the Xbox 360 digital storefront, which is a very sad day. I know Xbox does a great job of bringing titles over to the Xbox One storefront, but not all of them can be purchased there. So we are going to lose some of those games if you do not purchase them prior to the July 29th date of next year. But again, I mean, Microsoft probably does a better job than most. I think you would agree as far as backwards compatibility and bringing the most popular games over to the newest generation of consoles. But still, it's always sad to see a sunsetting of a store, especially one that I have such fond memories with my Xbox 360, which is probably my favorite console I ever owned. I don't know. I'm trying to look to see if they mention any games in this article specifically that you won't be able to get anymore that haven't been moved over or having trouble getting backwards compatibility on.
Yeah. Oh, there is one thing I forgot to mention when I was talking about the Call of Duty games.
Mm-hmm.
So, a bunch of the old Xbox 360 Call of Duty games have skyrocketed in sales lately, and they're actually on the top gaming charts now.
Really?
Yeah. Let me see if I can find this article.
While you're doing that, something interesting to note from this article that I think also is a little bit of a different element. For instance, it says, I own a copy of Bastion, which we actually have talked about in this podcast, but it only works on his 360, did not make that backwards compatible. If he wants to play it on his Xbox Series X, he has to buy the game again because there is an Xbox One version of the game.
Oh, dang.
So I think there are going to be a lot of cases of that where you would have to buy the game over again, which I think is a bit sad. I understand it, but then again, yeah, I think it's unfortunate to have to buy a game multiple times.
Yeah. So yes, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 and Call of Duty Black Ops and Call of Duty Black Ops 2 all for Xbox 360, are currently in the top selling charts for Xbox right now. And they're up there. Yeah. I mean, Modern Warfare 2 and Black Ops are like in the top 10 games right now.
So now my new theory is that Call of Duty developers, publishers spread this rumor that these servers were now fixed, even though they were always working just so they could get more sales on their games. People are buying them over again now.
Yeah. So yeah, as reported by GI.biz, 2009's Modern Warfare 2 placed 4th in the list of July's best-selling games, while 2012's Black Ops 2 placed 5th. Only FIFA 23, Grand Theft Auto 5, and Red Dead Redemption 2, which placed 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, overcame these 2 decade-old games in the UK sales charts. Pretty impressive, man. So I don't know, just, yeah, you're right. This rumor got out there and everyone's like, oh yeah, those games are awesome. Let's go back to playing them.
All those Call of Duty developers, publishers, they are benefiting.
Yeah, they are. So yeah, with the store shutting down, first of all, it does say that the multiplayer will still work on these games, but I think that's largely due to the fact that the whole Xbox 360 Live service is now like embedded in the Xbox One and Xbox Series X Xbox Live. So I think they kind of coincide with support for both. It's hard to believe that the Xbox 360 is 17 years old at this point.
Craziness.
And I don't remember when the marketplace really like came online. I think it was a few years after the console had come out, especially like the iteration of how it looks today. But it is fascinating to me. I mean, even just the other day when I was playing these Call of Duty games, I decided to browse the Xbox 360 dashboard. And yeah, you could still buy like movies on it. Like just movies that come out, they're coming out today. If you can still watch them, rent them, buy them on your Xbox 360 and watch them there.
That's awesome.
It is nice that in the Xbox 360 settings menu, it has the history of everything you've ever purchased or downloaded in order.
I don't want to look at that.
So I went through my history, and there were so many like demos I played. Oh, yeah. I can remember. I'm like, I remember the exact moment I downloaded that demo and played it, and it helped me remember all the DLC I paid for. So I went through and re-downloaded everything. So I got everything on my hard drive. So I don't have to worry about it. And yeah, there's a lot of great DLC they gave away for free, like Gears of War maps, Call of Duty maps, and I mean some of it was paid as well. But another thing that really interested me looking through my recent download or my download history was how many game trailers I downloaded back in the day. Because you have to remember, this was before YouTube really took off. So if you wanted to see a game trailer, you either really had to hunt for it online or catch it maybe on G4 TV back when that was a thing. Or more conveniently, you could just log into your Xbox and then right there it'd be like Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, campaign trailer, multiplayer trailer. I had downloaded so many Halo and Call of Duty trailers. It was fascinating to see what I was interested in as my young like teenage self, because I was like, cool. I definitely watched every video about Halo 3. I watched every video about Halo 3 ODST, Halo Reach, all these Call of Duties. So I would sit there and you download it, and it probably took 20 minutes to download just so you could watch like a 1-minute trailer. So people today don't know how good they have it, that every new trailer is instantly available to them at their fingertips on YouTube. Because you used to be excited to click download and wait a half an hour for that trailer to download so you can watch it over and over and over again on your Xbox and get hyped about some game that was about to come out.
Yeah, we didn't have a smartphone, or I didn't even have a laptop at that point or anything, where I was just me in my basement and I could only use my Xbox to get any form of media on. I didn't really have anything else. So yeah, being able to watch trailers directly on the Xbox was a revelation, really.
Yeah, for a lot of people, that was their portal into the world, the portal into the internet. So I'm wondering, I know they're shutting the store down. I'm wondering if that means all the demos you're not going to be able to download anymore. And all these trailers that I just mentioned, I wonder if that means all those are going away as well. Because it doesn't say anything about that in any of these articles I've read.
There is a pretty expansive list of games that they have on the one that I shared in the drive here, of games that are either you have to buy them again or they're just completely shutting down and you're not going to be able to get them anywhere.
Dang.
And to no surprise, I'm seeing a lot of Kinect games on here because obviously the Kinect kind of sunsetted with the 360. I know there is an Xbox. They did ship, the original Xbox One shipped with the Kinect, but they quickly abandoned that once they released it. So yeah, it's kind of sad. I have fond memories, as we've shown on the pod before, of my Kinect.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I mean, I recently bought a game earlier this year. I got the Perfect Dark N64 remake that they released, but I'm pretty sure you can get that on Xbox One, so I don't think that one's going to be lost to time or anything. But other than that, yeah, I don't know. Before it shuts down, I'm telling you, I'm going to go through and really look through everything. And to be honest, I actually did that. When I bought Perfect Dark, I went through like the entire marketplace just to see what was on there and all the games and stuff. And yeah, there's just so many great games. The arcade games, like the Xbox arcade games that were re-releases of arcade games, or they were indie games, or they were like old Sega Genesis or Super Nintendo games. It's crazy all the stuff they had on there. And a lot of them
One
were
of the
good
games
ports.
on here is actually that NFL Blitz remake that they did is one of the games on this list that they're sunsetting.
Oh man, I might have to pick that up.
Along with that, I'm trying to think of some other notables here. The Gotham City Imposters, I've talked about that. We were going over my full Xbox achievement list, and that is one that I absolutely love that game as a first-person shooter, and they did not bring that over, unfortunately, to the Xbox One.
Is this the list at the bottom of the...
Yep. At the bottom of the page is the full list of ones you either have to buy again on Xbox One, or they just will not come. They'll be gone forever. Unless you have a physical copy. If there's a physical copy available.
Yeah. Dang. I do find it interesting. I see Call of Duty Classic, which is the very first Call of Duty game that was released for PC. I always found that interesting that they ported that to Xbox 360, and you could only get it digitally. I might pick that one up before everything goes offline, because unfortunately nobody plays the multiplayer on that anymore. But if it even has the campaign, I would say that would be worth picking up.
Call of Duty campaigns are very underrated. That's probably what I've enjoyed sometimes more than the actual multiplayer, especially in the later ones that I kind of grew out of the multiplayer or stopped liking it as much. The campaigns, they were always still really solid.
Yeah. Dude, there was this free-to-play game on Xbox 360 that I played, which was actually really good. And it was very old. It was like one of the first-person shooter free-to-play games I ever played. I want to say it was called like Blacklight or something.
I remember Hextech HD that always used to ship. It shipped on the 360 console, so you always got that one for free.
Yeah, it was Blacklight Tango Down, I think. And yeah, that was pretty cool. It looks like, I think it was on Xbox 360. You could download it for free and play it. And I'm sure there's some way they made money off of it. I don't know, selling guns or something, but it looks like
it's no longer available on the Steam store.
Yeah, I'm sure they released it on Steam as well around that same time and took it down. But I'll have to look at some of these gameplay videos to kind of remind me of it. But I remember that being pretty good, me downloading that, just being like, what, a free game? This can't be good. Because it was before I really understood the concept of free-to-play games, or before that was a common thing. And I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. Let's see what else they got on here. Duke Nukem 3D. Nice. Although you can get that on other platforms.
Yeah, this just goes back to reminding me of always having to buy the Microsoft points to get any of these like arcade games. There wasn't just a way, you didn't just click and link your credit card and buy. You always had to get the actual Microsoft currency to get the game.
Yeah, it was such a weird way to go about it. And I never understood why that was the way it was done. Haunt, which is a Kinect game that I think was digital only.
Fruit Ninja Connect. Oh, fantastic Connect game.
Yeah.
I love playing Fruit Ninja with that.
Holy crud, you're not lying, man. There's like 30 games here that say Kinect.
Yeah.
Whoa. Oh, the Kinect. Slowly slipping farther and farther into your grave.
I still own my Xbox One Connect, but I can't, it doesn't work with the Series X.
What happened to your Xbox One? Did you sell it or trade it in?
I think I traded it in or sold one of the two. Yeah, I may regret that down the line, but I think if I get anything again, I'll just get a 360 again.
Yeah.
And just have one of those.
So, Mortal Kombat Arcade Collection. That's cool. I think I got that. I want to say I got that on Steam. And I think it was delisted. And then I think like I managed to get a key from somewhere. Arcade Collection. Let me see.
I'm looking at a key on G2A just because I'm curious.
Yeah.
Okay, $30.
Just kidding. I did not pay $30 for that.
That's for Steam.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm mistaken, but I could have sworn. Yeah, I don't see it. I don't think you can get it anymore. Anyway, it's like the actual arcade game versions. Like a lot of the stuff that you can get today is either like they're just emulating the Sega Genesis version, or it's like or it's the PC version, which wasn't very good, like the original PC version that came out in the 90s. Like these ones are actually emulating the arcade versions, which were the best versions of the original Mortal Kombat trilogy. So that would be worth picking up. NFL Blitz. I need to be writing this stuff down. 3 games right there I want to get before this stuff shuts down.
Yeah, there's the NBA Jam they brought over too, which is another good one.
Let's see here. A lot of this stuff, yeah, I never even heard of, but Takedown.
Some of those Yu-Gi-Oh games, man, they were solid. I mean, there's still good Yu-Gi-Oh games you can get anywhere, but man, those arcade Yu-Gi-Oh games, they hit.
Anyway, yeah, man, it's just sad because I'm weird like that. Sometimes I like to get on my 360 and just look at the marketplace because it's totally a time capsule.
Yeah.
And it's just, man, just oozes mid-2000s with everything about it.
Absolutely.
Anyway, man, just hate to hear this news.
Yeah, I feel like we're always the bearer of bad news with store shutdowns, but it's kind of become our thing. So, you know how much we like collecting and the preservation of physical and digital media for that matter. So,
yeah.
Unfortunate.
Damn. All right, man. Is there anything else we got to go over?
No, do we want to hit this this last topic of?
Yeah, let's knock it out, man.
Let's burn through it. So I'll go quickly here. We're just sticking on the Xbox topic, but going to branch to something as a whole. The Xbox is introducing a new strike system to curtail bad behavior. And in this new system, if a player violates the Xbox community standards, they'll receive a strike. The severity of the violations determines the number of strikes and the length of punishment. If a player receives a total of 8 strikes, their account will be banned from using Xbox services like voice chat or multiplayer for 1 year. The strike program starts today. I think it was probably a few days ago they talked about this. And with everyone on the platform getting a clean, strikeless slate. So I think there's a bigger discussion with this. I think we were talking about it off the pod, but I feel like the talking smack in the voice chat as a whole in video games has really gotten a bit soft. I don't know if soft's the right word, but it really was a very different atmosphere back when I was in middle school, you were in middle school, and I don't know. I don't like the way that it's going. I don't know. I'm trying to formulate my thoughts, but I don't like the way that it's going. For instance, they've taken away certain things. Like, obviously, I'm a big Counter-Strike player, and it used to be where at halftime of a Counter-Strike game, you could basically just talk smack for like maybe 5-10 seconds to the other team while you're switching sides. And it was the funniest thing because you only got like 10 seconds to yell at these people. And it's just funny banter back and forth, screaming, and then just gets silent again when you switch sides. So, like, I don't know, just like nobody takes it to heart. Nobody is, doing any. It's just simple smack talk on voice chat that I always just thought was hilarious. And I feel like they're taking that away. And I just think one other thing, I think voice chat as a whole is being taken away, which is also unfortunate because I've met a lot of friends through voice chat online that I am still friends with today. And I feel like in today's age, I know they've introduced a lot of like party chats, and obviously Discord is a huge thing now, but I think maybe I'm speaking like an old person now, but I miss the day of just joining a game and meeting new people and making friends, like of people with common interests, which is video games. That was my speech. It's more of a rant. I'm upset by it. I understand that we need to protect young kids, but like all in all, I mean it's up to them to be it's up to them to be mature, and it's up to other people. And like I don't know, I turned out fine even though there was no restrictions on any sort of voice chat.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, when you and I were growing up playing the original Xbox Live, like, it was the Wild West, man. They introduced voice chat, and back then, in order to get Xbox Live, the starter kit came with a mic, so everybody had a microphone. And typically, the majority of people in the game were wearing their headset talking, because back then, it was brand new. It's like, I'm playing Xbox Live, I'm supposed to have the mic on. Let's do this. And you would get in these games, and it was just no holds back. I mean, people were so offensive, but it kind of was the times too. It's like when you were in middle school, you were talking trash to everybody. Like, everybody was making fun of everybody. Everybody was just saying stupid stuff and just being offensive. And I was just like, it was just natural.
Yeah, it's like, that's the way it is.
Yeah, and I mean, sometimes people could take it too far, even back then. Sure. Where you'd hurt somebody's feelings, but for the most part, you knew. You're like, this is just somebody talking smack. Like, that's just what it is. And you get in these games, the same situation. It's like you beat another team, and when they give you that moment, like, normally you can only talk to people on your own team. But then when the round ends, like you said, in most games, when it shows the score or whatever it is, and it gives you that moment where all people can talk, that was it. It's like, I just crushed this other team. Like, my team just crushed this other team. Let them know. Like, just stick it in them, man. Like, yes, we crushed you. Every curse word in the book, everything. And it was just a much more social platform. Like you said, you met people because you were just sparking up these conversations.
Part of video games is that competition, and part of competition is talking smack and telling the other team that they lost and you won. I don't know, and that was just the way it was, and it's sad. And I do think some games have still taken it in the right direction, though. I have been seeing more and more, like on the Call of Duties most recently, and some other type of games, Dark and Darker being another one that's just came out, where they're actually putting some proximity chat in place, which I think that's pretty nice. Like, I do like when you're around somebody in like a game and you know you can hear them on the mic. They're also around. You're kind of talking smack to each other, trying to find each other in maybe a Call of Duty Warzone match or something. I think that's fun.
Yeah, that's so
And
cool.
I've seen some really cool moments on like TikTok or Instagram Reels of just people having banter back and forth with that. It creates good content.
Yeah.
But I think games are also taking it in the wrong direction, which I talked to you off the pod. Overwatch just recently has administered a system where they're recording your voice so that they can go and review it and basically see if you're being highly offensive and then banning you or, timing you out from voice chat or whatever for a certain period of time.
Which to me is such an invasion of privacy. Like that's crossing the line. I mean, that's like, yeah, just because I think back about the friends I made on the original Xbox Live, and a lot of those friends they were really close friends to me. Probably I would consider them just as close as like my best friends that actually lived in the neighborhood or I went to school with.
Same.
Like I would come home from school, get on Xbox Live every single day and talk to these people. And we would have really deep conversations and we would talk about things in our personal lives, like just full-blown conversations. And if I knew that somebody was recording everything we were saying, like that, I would hate that. Like, how are you really going to open up to your friends when you know you're being monitored like that? Come on, man. That's like some Big Brother freaking 1984 stuff right there. Like, just let people say what they want to say. If freedom of speech is very important, and also if you're entering an arena, know what to expect. If you don't want your kid to be offended, don't let them in the voice chat where you know they're going to be with people all around the world of all different ages. But, I mean, it comes to a point where it's like you can't just shelter your kids. Like, this is the real world, man. It's like people are going to talk, people are going to say offensive stuff, and there's also people who are not going to do that. There's also people who are going to have your same interests, and there's people who you're going to totally click with. But you're not going to really get to know somebody unless people know that they can speak freely when they're talking to people.
Exactly. Yep. 100%. Yeah, I know while we talk smack, you and I, we've always been gamers we're also made a lot of friends along the way because we're also nice to people. Like yeah, you know what you sign up for. There's parental controls for a reason. Let's not I know society as a whole is kind of, trying to restrict and censor a lot of things. And I think because video games have become more of a mainstream service, and when Xbox Live was first introduced, the mainstream media and, it wasn't as, I guess it wasn't as known of a concept until later on. So once it became more known, now it's getting more restricted. Similar to things like Twitch TV and all that stuff. When things become more known, they get more restricted because more people are on them. But
yeah,
it's sad.
It is. It's like you almost miss the days of when video games were more of a niche thing, and less people were doing it. Because, like you said, it's less monitored then. It flies under the radar because it's just those are just the nerds over there playing video games, or just that small group of gamers. Like, it's the minority. But then, yeah, once it went mainstream, it's like all the spotlight's on it. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's all I have to say about it. It's just a bummer. I'm really hoping games. I hope we come back around and games start loosening up a little bit. I do like that the proximity chat stuff is kind of coming back, and that's at least a thing. But I mean, there's way worse ways to get, than getting talked in a voice chat of a video game. So, I mean, I feel like we need to loosen it up just a little bit.
Yeah, for real. And also now these developers, they have to pull resources to try to do this stuff. Oh, everyone's complaining, all the attention's on us. We need to clean up this voice chat. So then they have to sink money, time, and developers into that. And all that could have gone to making the game itself better. So it's
Yeah.
it's spreading them
In
thin.
Overwatch,
You know?
Overwatch is already in a bad state. I don't need them putting all their developers to do this voice chat recording. Why don't you just work on the game?
It's like, come on, man, you're putting your resources in the wrong thing. But I mean,
Yeah.
but that's Overwatch, man. I mean, that's
Blizzard
your
in a
commercial. Like we're appealing to the mass appeal, and we're the game for everybody because we got to have the biggest mass appeal to make the most profits. And yeah, it's just kind of. Oh, who cares? Overwatch, you do whatever you want, man. I'm not playing Overwatch anyway, so.
I have been, but not as much these days. And if I am in that game, I don't even speak. So
Yeah.
I just talk to my friends in Discord.
Which is nice that you can do that. Yeah, you're not meeting new people, but there is always other platforms that you can get on some private chat and then not have to worry about all this nonsense.
Exactly.
There's a will, there's a way, I suppose.
Yeah, but I do miss the days of Halo 2 where I would just boot into a 4v4 Team Slayer on lockdown and meet a best friend who I went to his wedding, and then another friend who I've gone out and visited in DC. And, you know, that stopped after essentially the 360 days. I never met a soul after 360.
Man. All right, man, I guess we can call it there. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. You can find all our episodes on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. We got our other social media platforms. Mitch, let them know.
Yep, you can find us on Twitter at The Hills Are Silent. Instagram is Instagram/Hills Are Silent. Our TikTok is at The Hills Are Silent Podcast. My cat just knocked over something. Our YouTube is at The Hills Are Silent. If you have any questions, comments, game recommendations, any pickups that you've made that maybe you think we'd be interested in, hit us up at our email inbox, hillsaresilent@gmail.com. We will catch you on the next episode.